Hi, Tech Clubbers. I had a couple emails from people asking me to show you how to add a background, so I thought I'd put together a video to show you how to do this. The default background, or the background you get when you first open a Google Drawing, is always transparent. Remember, we talked about where you see this light checkerboard is transparent, so it's see-through. So if you want to create a background, you're going to have to put something solid on your drawing, and then you're also going to have to move it to the back. In one of the previous videos, we talked about ordering images. The way your Google Drawing works is everything on your canvas is in a layer. And some of them are closer and some of them are farther away. Some are on the front and some are towards the back. This image of me here you can see is, for example, behind my name tag here. If I put it by the volleyball, it's also behind that. I think it was one of the first things I did. So it's probably one of the earliest layers. It's one of the furthest things behind. Okay. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create something and then send it to the very back of our drawing so it's in the background. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do this. Let's talk about the simplest. Let's talk about a solid color. If I want to make a solid color background, I'm going to go to Shape. I'm going to go to Shapes, and I'm going to choose a rectangle because that's the shape of our drawing. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag from the top left to the bottom right, and I'm going to create that rectangle. Now that rectangle has all the characteristics that are set up here, so if I don't want that, I can say no edge. I'll say I want it to be bright yellow. Whatever characteristics you want your image to have, your background to have, that's what you can change there. Now, while you have it selected, notice I have the handles on it here. You can either right click or control click that image and go to Order, Send to Back. It's also a keyboard shortcut Command Shift down. All right. So when I do that, you see it puts it all the way to the back of my drawing. That looks pretty good. Okay. When you add a background, one of the things that shows up sometimes is when you have whether you have a transparent image or not. This picture, for example, of volleyball, you can see it's not transparent around the edges of it, whereas a soccer ball is. So the soccer ball looks a little bit better. I've taken and cropped this image of this iPhone here. Originally, it looked like this, and I thought that didn't look very good, so I went and I double clicked it, and then oops, I think I did that wrong. Double click it, there we go, and then I can click and drag those sides in so that it almost looks like it's a transparent image. It's not quite, but it looks a little bit better that way. All right, so let's talk about more interesting backgrounds other than just a color. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this background. We'll try to put something more interesting in. What I did for my other sample was I simply went to the images right here. So I clicked image, and then I clicked in the search box right here, I typed in background. Okay. There's tons and tons of backgrounds out there on the internet because a lot of people like to put a background on their computer or something like that. So, there's clouds and plain patterns. I'd say a word of advice when you're trying to create something that's nice to look at is pick something kind of simple. If it's a little too busy, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see your other things that you want to show on your picture. Okay, so I'm going to pick something kind of plain here. This looks like an underwater shot. It looks kind of cool. I'm going to click select and choose that. It's going to drop it onto my picture. Now, as I said before, it's going to place things as you do them on the top always. So this is all the way to the front. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to probably resize this and put it where I need it. So I'm going to drag it up to the top left corner. So I took the corner right there, and then I'm going to drag my other corner down until my image is full. Now you'll notice I'm actually off of my drawing a little bit, and that's okay. It's going to get kind of cropped out with your image. But now everything is blocked because this is right in front. So I need to, again, change the order. So I'm going to control click or right click and do order, send to back. And that will push it to the back of my image. All right, so that was a cool background, but let's say you wanted to customize it and have something really, really specific, maybe something that's an interest of yours. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one again. And another way you could do it is to go and do a regular Google image search and find a background that way. You'll get more selection that way. But I think this is definitely the fastest way to do it. Let's say I don't want just any old background. Let's say I want something related to Legos. I want to type Lego background. All right, I have a few choices here. I'm going to pick this one here, the very first one, and click select. Should drop it onto my drawing here. There it goes. It's a pretty big one, but I have a few edges not covered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it up to the top left again. And I might, since it's pretty close, I might just stretch this to the bottom. That looks all right. Stretch it a little bit more that way. A little bit more that way. Okay. And then just as we did before, we're going to control or right click and then click order, go down to order, send to back. And there we have it. Remember what I was saying before about sometimes pictures can be a little busy or make it hard to see your other things. This would be a good example. There's a lot going on in my picture now, and some of it is a little bit hard to see. So I probably would pick something a little bit more plain for my background than this, but just to show you how it's done, I think this is a good example. All right, hopefully that was helpful to you. Good luck.